Hello, and welcome to this WireStar Networks video learning series presentation. Today, we are getting straight to the important topic of requirements for the MDF room at your project. The success of the entire network project begins with the readiness of the MDF. Let's take a closer look at the specific details WireStar requires prior to mobilizing our implementation team to complete work in the MDF. The MDF, or main distribution frame, is the backbone of your network. All internet traffic from the property must travel through the MDF to reach its target destination. The MDF also contains critical Ethernet cabling that is used to provide internet to other trades working on your project that need internet access. With the MDF being the catalyst by which any other area of your project can receive internet, the importance of preventing this space from undergoing value engineering and prioritizing the completion of its construction cannot be overstated. If your project phasing schedule requires certificate of occupancy in other areas of the job site before the MDF construction will be completed, it is likely that these areas will remain without data access until at minimum 2 weeks after the MDF is finished. To adhere to life safety requirements, the MDF is built with a more rigid equipment layout. Battery backup systems can provide critical network operation even in the event of a power outage. For this reason, it's important that all life safety lines converge into this room and not other closets that may be located throughout the project unless specific coordination has taken place with WireStar to accommodate life safety lines in other closets. Next, we'll focus on construction conditions that must be met prior to the mobilization of our implementation team. Number 1. The most fundamental requirement is that the MDF is sheetrocked and painted. Electronic equipment cannot be installed prior to painting under any circumstances. To mitigate any risk from drywall crews working around the expensive network equipment within this room, it's crucial that the room is hung, floated, taped, and painted prior to our arrival. If this hasn't happened yet, your MDF is simply just not ready for the equipment to be installed. Number 2. Fire-rated plywood. Depending on your local jurisdiction and construction plans, your MDF may call for the entirety of all walls to be covered with fire-retardant plywood. At minimum, a single sheet of 4x8 fire-rated plywood must be securely fastened to the wall where the MDF rack system will be located. Without it, important network components cannot be properly mounted. The plywood should be located where dedicated power has been installed and data cables have converged into the room. Additionally, the location of the plywood must not be obstructed by other mechanical fixtures, equipment from other trades, or clutter upon our arrival to install or maintain the network. In the event of a network emergency, efficient access to the data racks is an important part of restoring services quickly. Number 3. Grounding. Following local and national electrical codes applicable to your area, an adequate grounding bus bar must be installed within 15ths of the MDF rack. Number 4. Lighting. Permanent lighting is required in your MDF closet prior to WireStar agreeing to mobilize our teams. If this step has not been accomplished yet, it's likely a good indication that the room is not ready for us to arrive. Number 5. Secured access. Once the implementation team has begun installing network electronics, the MDF room must remain locked while a WireStar technician is not present. WireStar should be given access to a physical key or door code for the duration of time that we are on site standing up network components. We are happy to return the key upon our departure and coordinate future access to the room through the on-site maintenance team. Number 6. Climate control. The MDF must have adequate climate control. Without it, the room will become too hot and lead to service disruptions and costly repairs. Thermal loads vary by project. WireStar understands that in some cases the AC is the last item to be completed in the MDF. While we can mobilize to a project without working AC in the MDF, it must be turned on within 1 to 2 weeks of our first mobilization to prevent damage to the network equipment. Number 7. Permanent power. A sudden loss of AC power in the middle of an update or configuration to electronic devices can render them completely useless. The MDF must have stable, permanent power available with a minimum of 2 20-amp power outlets. A 15 amp outlet will not meet requirements. WireStar will not stand up an MDF on generator or temporary power under any circumstances. We understand the complexities of testing, and passing electrical inspections are not always predictable or easy to control. To prevent damage to our networking equipment, MDF mobilization should only be requested after permanent power has been turned on. Number 8. A clean room. WireStar expects to arrive to a clean and tidy MDF. Our implementation technicians are on site to build a working network and meet tightly packed deadlines. Our network builds also require exposing dust-sensitive fiber optic cables during installation. Prior to requesting any MDF installations, ensure that any leftover materials have been removed and the room has been thoroughly cleaned. Number 9. Conduit pathways. On certain job sites, WireStar has been hired to not only install the electronics package, but also to run fiber optic cables to other areas of the project. It is common for WireStar to encounter blocked conduit pathways, or pathways that do not contain mule tape, delaying the ability for us to meet deadlines and install fiber optic cables. It is critical that any conduit systems that were called for in the construction documents have been installed, lined with mule tape, and proofed within 14 days of our arrival to the job site. If WireStar mobilizes to a job site and is delayed due to missing or damaged conduit systems at the property, it's likely that a remobilization fee or change order will apply. The QR code shown on your screen will take you to our MDF Readiness checklist. This online form is multiple choice and can be completed in less than 2 minutes. If you want to provide us with updates about the status of the MDF at your project, simply fill it out anytime. Space is available at the end of the form for you to provide any pertinent details you think are important for topics where a requirement hasn't, can't, or won't be met in time for our arrival. You can also simply call our office and speak to a project manager if that's easier for you. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at a job site in the near future.